Hi, welcome to the weekly Interruption. Food for thought. Do we see sin, no matter how small, no matter what it is, do we still see it as sin? How much sin is out there that we don't pay any attention to anymore? Has the world become so wicked and evil that we just consider it part of normal everyday life? In the book, When the Enemy Strikes by Charles Stanley, he writes, the more you entertain a thought aimed at a need that you feel, the more that thought looms in your mind until it crowds out all other thoughts. If you entertain thoughts repeatedly over days, weeks, months, it will take root. Then it becomes normal to you. We normalize our desires, our thoughts, good or bad. Can you remember a time when someone went into a cussing fit and it shocked you? Does anybody cussing even shock you anymore? Foul language. How about a driver who zooms through a stop sign or a stoplight? It's a common everyday occurrence around here. I don't know about you, but people on the road just don't pay any attention anymore. That's just normal, common. That's just everyday life. How about the first time you watched a news anchor tell a flat-out lie? You're like, wow, that's not true. Or they left a really important part of the news story out. You know, when they do that, when they will omit the most important part, that way the narrative changes what they mean by the story. No big deal, right? Yeah. I've got to where I can't even watch some news channels because clearly I know what they're saying and I know what the truth is, and that's not what they're saying. It kind of upsets me sometimes. But when Dr. Stanley wrote, "It becomes normal to you," I started thinking, how much sin over time has become normal to me, to society? How about to you? Things that God calls sin in the Bible, we're supposed to be upset with it. We're supposed to not want it around. We're not supposed to be a part of it. Are you shocked by anything? All the news agencies, they talk about how many murders there's been this week. Okay, how many more? Blah, blah, blah. Murder, rape, war, theft, hypocrisy. It just goes on and on. How about lies? How about disregarding the laws of the road? I mean, it doesn't shock us anymore. It's, you know, that's just who people are. That's the way the world is. It doesn't really affect us, especially personally, like it should when we do something wrong. But you know, when another driver nearly runs over us, you know, we have a way of telling them they're number one, right? We let them know real quick in our own special sensitized way that we didn't appreciate what they did. Oh, well, a sinful reaction to another sin, that's probably a discussion for another day. The devil knows you better than you know yourself. He can push the right buttons on you all day long, all the time, if you let him, or until you become desensitized to your sin. You're numb. You just like, well, that really wasn't a sin. It's happened before over and over. No big deal. That's the way Satan will work. Just drip, drip, drip until no big deal. Discernment for a Christian is the process by which God helps an individual reach the best decision. Talking about long term. Have you considered all of what's going to happen, the domino effect? If I make this decision and I go ahead and yell back at this bad driver, or somebody's done or said something and I react in a horrible way, what are the ramifications that's going to come back to me? Did I do the right thing as a Christian? You know, discernment means to separate good from evil. We don't want to partake in the evil. We got to try to find a way to make it good, if that's even possible in this day. You know, I say if. God can do that. He can do it through you. He can do it through me. If we would just take a minute. There are so many verses in the Bible about discernment. It's very, very, very important that when you're a Christian, the Holy Spirit comes into you and you will have discernment. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." Our minds need to be conformed. We control our thoughts, or do our thoughts control us? Need to think about that. Not letting Satan's fiery darts penetrate you. Don't allow or dwell on the sinful thoughts like anger, fear, guilt, lust, pride. Be quick to take action so the evil thoughts don't take hold. Don't let the thoughts become so common you can't see the wrong in them. Your conscience can be seared. Next time Satan shoots an arrow at you, ask yourself, why am I vulnerable to this temptation? Or what need am I failing to trust God with? Remember, your emotions and spontaneous choices flow almost instinctively from your right relationship with Christ. Put on the whole armor of God. Remember that? That's from Ephesians 6. This will give us a fresh awareness of the sins we have become numb or insensitive to. Jesus has provided all you need to overcome every attack of Satan. Just receive what Christ has provided and act on it, so you will be victorious even against the fiercest attacks. So let's get in agreement with God's views. If God says it's sin, then it's sin. The closer we draw to the Lord, the easier it is to see or discern good from evil. Let's strive to see spiritually 2020.